Before I started, I wanted to just make a couple comments about some housekeeping items. So first, I do realize that we probably have population coming from all different areas of North America. So just to streamline the conversations here, I'm going to be using the term district to reference any of our clients or customers that are using D2L. So I do realize that in Ontario, for example, it's often referred to as a school board or Manitoba as a division. For the purpose of today, though, we're just going to simplify it and use the term district. The second piece that I wanted to talk or wanted to mention or highlight is that we have actually turned off any commenting or question and answers for the webinar series. And the logic and the reasoning behind this is because we are going to be having K-12 clients or K-12 educators participating in the webinars from all across North America. And so we need to make sure that because of the number of participants we're going to have, that we have prioritized our time to be directed towards the actual instructional piece of the tool versus answering individual questions specific to a district that could be brought up. In the event that you have specific questions, we would advise you to refer them to your district's Brightspace administrator to be able to answer them according to your district's practice, because the Brightspace platform is completely customizable for your district to meet the needs. So your administrator will be the one that will be able to help you achieve those goals. Third, if your district currently isn't using Brightspace, please do feel free to follow along with us to get a feel for what Brightspace has to offer. But the webinars are meant to show you how to use the tool, not how to acquire it. If you are interested in acquiring it, you can email the email address that's showing here, the k12ont@d2l.com, and they can give you some resources and information as to how to do that. Finally, I just want to highlight the fact that moving forward, we will be sending out a copy of the slide deck, which will include all of the resources that are going to be listed in the slide deck. You will also receive a video recording of the webinar as well, so that you'll be able to reference it yourself as you start to explore the tool. And you can also share it with fellow educators to help them with their practice as well. So let's just hop on forward here and we'll have a little conversation about the agenda. So we're going to look a little bit today at the current state that everybody's kind of in right now related to the COVID-19 and how we're moving forward. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what is Brightspace, as we've had a variety of questions just regarding some of the terms that people hear. So we just want to clarify those up front. After that, we're going to touch on content, and we're going to look at how to use that to help you move forward. And then finally, I'm going to just highlight some of the resources that are going to be available to you that you can reference once you receive that email that will be coming to you after. So that email does come out automatically to all participants who've provided their email address when they did their registration. So just to move forward here, we do realize that this is a massive impact globally of the COVID-19 virus. And we realize that everybody is kind of very quickly trying to get their feet under them with regards to any transitions to online learning and a variety of other things. And we do know that your health and safety is obviously your number one priority now, but as educators, a lot of you are thinking about your students and what you can do to help them and support them moving forward. We want you to know that we are here to help, and we are doing our best to provide as many resources available to our clients and to educators. And as we continue to hear more, we plan to share more, so that all of our clients in our D2L and Brightspace community are able to hear from each other about the success stories, the best the best practices, various use cases, so that you can understand how other people are maneuvering the very same situation. And like it says at the bottom, we're all in this together. So if we can help, that's what we're trying to do today and moving forward. With regards to transitions into online learning, of course, we know that at a time like today, in lieu of schools closing, we need to find an alternative. But as an educator, there's a variety of things that you need to consider as you're moving forward into this new educational world. And some of the ones that we've highlighted here are things that we've heard from across North America and even globally. So the first one we have showing up here as a consideration is considering content and resources. So whether you're starting from scratch or you have experience teaching online in the past, being able to pull everything together and share resources and content is going to be very important, especially as everything is moving at such a fast pace. Using a platform that allows you to put all of those resources and pull them all together into one place for your students to offer the best support at home is going to be a great navigational tool for your content. Devices and internet access is the next point here. Online learning is a valuable resource in times like these, and as educators, we always need to consider our students without internet or possibly without devices, and for those learners who have older devices or computers as well. So what we need to consider is that we're not over-focusing on um, apps that rely on having the newest operating systems to function or the newest devices to function. Brightspace and D2L is really focused on making sure that our product is has a responsive web design, which means that all you need to access your D2L space or your Brightspace is to have a browser access. We've also prepared to have online content available so that access is available to even more learners. We're seeing various communities, and we've heard wonderful stories about how communities are pulling together all across the world to help support students in times like these. And we've heard stories of communities helping to either donate or provide free devices, or they're rallying together and providing hotspots and internet. So the support is out there and it's building, and I'm sure as we continue to move forward, we're going to continue to hear a lot of wonderful stories for how the world is helping each other. The next one we see is support at home. So parents are also new to this world, and we realize that. And many are balancing their work life, either working from home or still, some are still having to go into their workplaces, but they're also having to support their students. So it's really important for us to make sure that we consider how much of support parents can provide, and then choose online tools that will help with that communication with them all in one easy place. Then we move on here. We have accessibility and equity. As we look at our online tools, it's always important to think about the needs of all of our learners. So tools like Brightspace that are WCAG compliant means that they have accessibility built into them for use with screen readers, for example, and various other accessibility tools. It's something that's very important to the staff at D2L, and we try really hard to make sure that our product is available to reach every learner. When we look at the security, privacy, and personal information, that's always a concern for educators. And if we're asking our students to use online tools, we need to make sure that their data is protected. Tools like Brightspace have a license with your district and have been properly vetted so that they can offer that reassurance to educators, administrators, parents, and students. D2L never owns the student or the teacher content either. And then as the final one, synchronous and asynchronous learning. Having synchronous lessons like video conferences is a great tool. It's important for us to keep in mind, though, that some houses only have one device that their children are sharing. So having an online lesson plan is something that will allow for that asynchronous learning at home, those physical activity breaks or household schedules that are also important. So there's just a few things that we need to consider when we're moving forward with our online tools and those choices that we make. With regards to the resources that we're going to be having, this is a collection of some of the stories that we're already starting to hear. So while today we're going to be focusing mostly on the technology, we are keeping an eye at D2L on the educational resources that are out there that are there to help support you and to help you build out your materials. And we're already seeing a lot of districts going ahead and moving forward with that. So we have some posted here that we've heard recently, or we've had already come up in the last week, that we're really excited about and proud of. So we see some from Toronto District, we see the Ontario Learn From Home, New York City is being very active in getting their resources together, and then of course we have some wonderful partners who are providing a lot of resources available to educators as well. As we continue to get more feedback from our clients and more feedback from some of our partners, we'll continue to share out these stories or these available resources that are there for you as well. So we've gone ahead and looked at the current state. We're going to jump forward here to what is Brightspace, because I know you've heard me say D2L and Brightspace kind of sounding like they're quite interchangeable. So just to clarify, let's hop in here. D2L is the company. So if we use an analogy that everybody can recognize, being Apple, Apple is the company itself. And then of course the product that they make is the iPhone. The product that D2L makes is Brightspace. So it's the tool, it's what we produce, and it includes all the other tools that are inside the learning management system. And then finally, another question that we've been getting recently is, what is the Brightspace community? And Brightspace community is a fantastic tool that D2L has created, or a space that D2L has created, where we're working to build an online community between our clients and the experts at D2L. So this is a space where we host all of our resources, our documentation, our webinar, history, if you wanted to research or go back or look at any other tools, for example. But it's also a space where you can ask your questions. You might have a use case question. You might have an actual tool question, like specific to the tool itself. All of those are welcome in our Brightspace community. And the fantastic part about the Brightspace community is you can get replies from users all around the world. So clients all around the world are able to participate, and as well, D2L employees who can answer from the expert perspective on a tool. So you get a lot of information and insight into how the tool is being used, who's using it, and of course you have the backup there from D2L. So it's a fantastic location for you to drive any questions moving forward. So now we're going to have a quick look at the agenda here for the learning objectives to move into the tool. So I'm going to go ahead here and pull, okay, there it is. So the learning objectives for this afternoon are going to include being able to create a new unit, being able to create a new lesson. We're going to look at how we can add materials into our lesson. And that's going to be from a couple different sources that I'm going to demonstrate for you. I'm going to show you how you can preview the view for a student, and as well as how you can go ahead and post to the course page, and how you could hide content from learners until you are ready to share it with them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just jump right over here to my demo working environment. And what you will notice when I come in here, just a second, I'm gonna flip over. Okay, so now you can go ahead and you can see my learning environment here. And I'm on the course landing page, or the home page. And as a teacher who's going to be looking at building out some content here, I'm going to choose the content tool that's showing right here. And in this one, it's a list view. So I'm going to click right into that list nav bar view here, and it's going to pull up here. Now, what we can see is that right here, we already have some content that's already showing. But so it's already the teacher in this course has already started building some out. But if I just look here, in the event that I was brand new and this was an empty course shell and I was starting from scratch, this is what my content page would look like. So you'd see there's no units currently showing here, and there's no information or details showing in the main frame here as well. You'll notice a slight difference up here. The top is showing the icon-based navbar, which is something that's customizable inside your organization, and there's lots of documentation that's available for you to walk you through how to do that at another time. But for our case and purposes today, and in order to stick with our time frame here, I want to make sure that we're staying focused. So I'm going to work inside this environment here, and what we can see is a few different things. So each one of these color-coded rectangles here is a different unit that I've created already. And there's a few things to call out here with regards to that. You can see the top three all have little arrows here beside them, where teacher resources and daily resources don't. What that tells me is that there's content that I've already built out that's inside it, whether it's an assignment or an HTML document, or it's something that I've imported in here, which is, this one is a video, for example, or let's see, this one has a link in it as well. So we're able to pull in content from different locations, whereas the ones here lower, teacher resources, for example, has nothing inside it. Neither does the daily resources. The other thing that you're seeing here is the eye with with a cross through it. And that just tells me that this particular unit is hidden from students. So you can see here the Welcome to Your Learn from Home classroom unit. It's actually showing. Students are able to see that content when they go in. However, week 1, week 2, and so on, those are private, and I haven't released those for the students to be able to view yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop in here. So in this button here where it says plus new unit, that's where we're going to start to build out a brand new unit inside our lessons tool here. So I'm going to click on that and it's going to open up for me. And this is like my title page. So what I'm going to do is we're going to work on week 3. And I'm going to just write a brief description here. Welcome to week 3 of Learn at Home. Of course, you can be a lot more creative and you can add a lot more detail into this if you want. That's certainly up to you, depending on how much content you want to go ahead and put in there. Now, I do want to call out one of our tools here, which I think can be very beneficial for engaging with students and taking things a little bit farther with regards to making your course a little bit personal. So what we see is a lot of different tools that are here, but the one that I want to call out is called our Video Note tool. So Video Note is an opportunity for you to embed a video directly into, hi everybody, into your course. So I might use this as an introduction or to provide instructions to my students to let them know what I want them to do. I'm putting a face in front of them. It's a different way to engage with our students and to let them have some further contact with us, especially in these days and times where we might want to make our education or our learning a little bit more personal. So we can record our own video from the webcam or we can upload a file. So, hey class, welcome to week 3. I hope everybody's healthy and happy. And you can go ahead and re-record it or try again if you need to, but I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that directly into my course here, into my unit. Just taking a moment for it to transfer it and to bring it through there. And once it does, it's going to come in and be embedded directly into my video, into my feed. So I've actually chosen to cancel it just for the purpose of keeping moving forward here. But you would actually see the video show up here. It would be directly embedded into the lesson and I would be able to see that as a learner and view it move as I was moving forward. So what I have happening now is I have my unit that's already built out here and you can see this blue highlight around the rectangle here. That lets me know where I'm working inside. So if I come up here, now I can see that I'm working directly inside this piece, or sorry, directly inside this unit. And if I come back down to week 3, it lets me know that it's there. Now you'll see these 8 dots that are here, and that just lets me know that I'm actually able to just drag and drop and move this for organizational purposes. So I just want to keep all my units together so I can see where I'm at. So I just moved it up there to transition that for myself. But I'm going to keep working inside week 3. And to add in my next piece of content, I'm going to just come over here to this bright blue add button, and I'm going to click on that. And it's going to bring up some options here for me to be able to look at the options that are inside. So I have a second level of organization that I can put in here, which is add a new lesson. And I'm going to go ahead and do that because I want to make sure that my students are finding everything nice and easy and without a lot of challenges. And we're going to call this unit the grammar unit. So, the grammar lesson. And I'm actually just going to stay with that lesson grammar. Please complete by Friday. Keep it nice and simple. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now you'll notice the HTML editor is across the top there again, and that comes across in all of our material or in all of our content applications here. So we're going to go ahead and move back into the lesson. So this is now I'm working inside. There's the unit, and now I'm working inside the lesson, and I want to add some content into this lesson here. So I'm going to go back to my big blue add button, and I'm going to choose that one. And again, I have the option to choose my HTML editor, which means I can build out the content directly here, or I can go back and I could use a variety of other things. If I have materials that are I've been building out, or I've stored, or I had from previous years that are saved inside a Google Drive or OneDrive, once you're logged into your Google Drive or OneDrive, there's an integration that will help you to bring those directly into your system by just pointing and clicking. If you have items that are saved on your hard drive, you can drag and drop them, or you can browse and bring them in directly here as well. But one of the interesting pieces that are here is the web link. So we're going to go ahead and make that our choice here for what we want to add. I'm going to add some Schoolhouse Rock. I hope all of you guys really like going to Conjunction Junction Station. I used to use it a lot when I was in South Korea. The kids loved it. So we're going to call it Conjunction Junction. So we have the option here of going ahead and choosing if we want it to be embedded as an iframe. So what that means is it'll show directly inside your workspace in your course, or if we want it to open into another tab. Now, if we want to avoid our students having to navigate outside of their coursework, we would want to keep it as embedded on the iframe page, but that's totally up to you and how you want to organize the space. But I'm going to go ahead and save that and bring that in here. So you can see how the video is just linked directly into the space, no advertisements down the side or anything like that. And this is directly linked into the course content. And I'm actually going to go ahead and open that up so that my students can see this one. Let's see. So once I'm done with that, if I've decided that I want to go and add in some more information here, I can also do that. I can keep adding in. Now you'll see the tools here: assignments, discussions, and quizzes. These are 3 of the assessment tools that we have. And you can actually click on those and you can build out an assignment directly inside here. Or if you had some that were previously saved or shared that you wanted to bring into a unit, you can do that in here as well, or you can create one on the fly. Same, the options go directly with our discussions and our quiz tools as well. You have the external activity tool where you're able to bring in some of the activities if you've had them linked through your organization, or your learning repository here as well if you've saved it and you're sharing items with other fellow educators. So there's plenty of options that are inside the content tool for you to be able to build out directly inside the tool. So now that I've got some content that's in here, and I'm going to go ahead and now I've decided as a teacher, I'm into week 3, let's go ahead and unlock this for my students so they can see what's there. But now I'm wondering about, what does that look like for them, and what are they going to see? As an educator, I can come up here to where my login information is, and my name is secondary educator, but in your space, it will have your name that's showing here. So it might say, Heather Ryan or Miss Heather, depending on how I'm registered. But all I have to do is click on my name and it'll give me this drop-down menu where I'm able to go ahead and pull up the view as a student. So as a student, and I move into this space, I'm here in the content space, and I can see the view from a student as it pulls it up here for me. Oops, seems to be taking its time. Working from home has all the people using the internet and the Wi-Fi, so let me just try that again here. There we go. So now it's come up, and as a student, I can see what I have to work on and what I have to complete. Now, as a student, it's showing it as completed here, and that's just the default view for a student. But if your student was the first time logging into this and it was coming up, it would show 0 out of 1 for what's completed and what's not. So the student would see their actual completion rate, not automatically referring to this. This is just because it's just a demo, a default for you to see. But you'd be able to see exactly what the students were seeing, so you could reference to make sure that the content was delivering as you wanted it to. And when you were done, you just have to click out here and it'll take you right back. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to show you one final piece. And the final piece here that I wanted to demonstrate is how we can go ahead and bring our content directly into the home page by using Activity Feed. So I'm going to go ahead here, and let's say I want it to be Conjunction Junction. That goes right to the Activity Feed for my students to reference. Under these 3 stars here, I can click into that here, and you see a variety of options that are there, but the one that we're going to focus on here is the one that says Post to Course Homepage. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. And what I'm going to do, I can click in here and I can leave a message for my students. So maybe I want them to make comments about the material. So I can just keep it very direct and simple. Maybe I want to give it a little icon since the activity feed does kind of reflect the same kind of styling as a social media feed. Um, so maybe I want to add in a little bit of something a little fun there. Here I have the option to choose if I want comments on or comments off for my students. So in this case, I'm going to leave comments on because the instructions are to leave a comment about the video. So hopefully this opens up a dialogue for my students and allows them a way to interact with each other. And then of course, here's the video and the content that I have that I want them to review. Now I have two options here. I can use the blue button to post it now so it shows up immediately, or I'm able to go ahead and post it later. So maybe you're preparing in advance and you're loading in your content and you're bringing things up, but you know that you don't want it to be all delivered at once because maybe you know you don't want to overwhelm your students, for example. So you can set your pacing here, your dates and times for when it would be released into your activity feed. But for our purposes today, we're going to go ahead and post it immediately so that if I go back into my activity feed, I'm going to see that the post has come through. It's been posted successfully. It's confirming it for me. And then it's going to come through here onto my activity feed. Oh, here we go. I tend to get a little bit trigger happy sometimes with my mouse. You'll have to excuse me. But what we go ahead here and we see is that we have it showing directly on our homepage. So it's the first thing that the students will see. You can pin it to the top if you need to. If you think you're going to be posting, 5 or 6 things, and this, one of them is an important reminder, you can pin it so that it's at the top, or you can edit it or delete it from here as well if you don't want it on the activity feed any longer. But that would be the first thing that students would see, and those communication pieces would be there for them. So at that point, basically, we've covered the basics of the content tool. I know it's a lot of information all at once, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But again, you are going to receive the copy of the video recording of today's demo, as well as the slide deck that was prepared here for you. And you will also be receiving the access to all of the resources there as well. So today we learned again how to create a unit and how to create a new lesson inside that unit, which just is 2 levels of organization. We've learned how to add materials, and we took materials from a web link, as well as I showed you how you can drag and drop them in or bring them in from your Google or OneDrive. We looked at how we can view it from a student perspective and post it to the course homepage. And of course, I showed you how you can hide the content from learners by toggling that on and off. So what I would encourage you to do now is in your own course space is give it a try. Try creating a new unit, try creating a new lesson, and bringing in those materials that you think would be suiting or helpful for your students. Have a look at it from the student perspective. Is it what you want it to look like? Post those items to the course page and be ready to communicate and bring them to your students' attention. So I would encourage you to go ahead and explore your own workspace and see how that goes for you. So we've gone ahead and gone through everything here. And again, the reminder is there again at Starburst. But remember that email's coming, and you will have all of that content coming to you, the slides again, the webinar recording, as well as access to all the resources that are shared today, which is what we're going to just kind of go over quickly now. So the resources here, everything that's underlined will be a hot link, so you'll be able to go directly to those points from using or from the slide deck here. So you'll have copies of the education webinars that we're producing or that we're developing and putting out there, including the recordings from this series, as well as any of the supports that D2L is building out in community with regards to planning forward, and the tutorials that are there as well. And if you need any help from us, you can use that email address at k12ont@d2l.com for information about not having Brightspace, or if you have any specific questions. Again, I just want to remind you that there are 2 more webinars in this current series. There'll be one tomorrow and there'll be one on Thursday. They are divided between elementary and secondary educators. The elementary is at 11 a.m. and secondaries will be delivered at 4 p.m. and that is Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in another time zone from Ontario or Central Ontario, just make sure that you're doing the math there for it. But if you do want more information, you can also check out the website that's there as well. Now, for those of you that are hungry for more and really want to dive in and explore this more, we've gone ahead and aggregated a lot of really valuable resources here for you to look at. They are in this chart, they're collected and sorted by theme, so how they can be of use to you. They are not in any kind of order as far as beginner to advanced, so just be aware of that when you're having a look at them. You might need to explore a couple options as you move through some of the material, but again, we would certainly encourage you to explore the possibilities of Brightspace to help support you and your learners as we move into this online world. Um, One of the recommendations that I would make to you is to pick a tool and explore it, give it a try, and then move on to another one. Because we all know that when we're learning something new, it can be a little overwhelming if we try to take on too much all at once. So again, we would recommend that you choose one, get a hang of it, and then move on to the next one. And certainly pick and choose according to what you're teaching and the students that you're working with. And that wraps up everything on our agenda today. So I just wanted to go ahead and express my many thanks to all of you for taking the time out of your day to join me for our webinar this afternoon. I hope all of you and your families are keeping healthy and happy and staying safe during this time. And please do reach out to us in the event that there is anything that you have questions about or concerns about. We have 24-hour, 7 days a week support assistance and chat assistance on our website that is supportive of you. And if you do choose to follow us on Twitter, we will be um, posting a variety of tips and tricks and support webinars and materials moving forward. We're trying to do our best to help support you. So we are moving forward with trying to enable you as much as possible. So again, thank you very much from myself and from D2L for participating today, and have a wonderful afternoon and evening.